Good morning, everybody. What are we today? Wednesday, the 10th of March, 2021. Today, I'm talking about relationships and the difficulty in predicting what can happen in a relationship, because we all have free will of choice. So when I'm doing a reading, what I'm doing is connecting to energy, the energy of your soul, your higher self, and the energy and the higher self of somebody else. But I'm not connecting to your ego. And your ego is what is making decisions in life. So if in a reading I am connecting two energies together and they feel like they are meant to be together, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stay together or you're going to choose to be together. There is something in that relationship, that energy contract between you, that you're both getting out of it. So sometimes you are in a relationship to get the experience you're both meant to share, to learn something about yourself. You might be finding the same kind of partners over and over, repeating a pattern and wondering why it ends up the same way that it always does, because you're not seeing the pattern and not learning something within yourself to change that pattern. So the ego will control thoughts and what you think you need out of a relationship. So that's where you are thinking more with the head and not thinking with the heart. So I have a question that I get asked so many times is, when will I meet my soulmate? Like there is supposed to be only one person in this world that is right for you. Out of the 7.5 billion people in the world, there's only going to be one that's meant for you, which I find quite weird of a question, because don't we connect with everybody? You don't have, if you had 3 children, you don't love one and not the other 2. And if you've got siblings, you don't love one and not the other siblings, or you don't love one parent and not the other parent, or in most cases. So why would you only love one person as a partner? Because your heart is big enough to love many people at the same time. Or over the years, your heart is huge, so you can love lots of different people. It doesn't have to just be one. A soul connection is when you're getting something out of it. You may have had a soul contract with each other before you were both born. You have a soul contract to come into each other's lives, depending on what you need to experience with each other. So if in a past life you were a father-daughter relationship and it was not a good relationship and he was very abusive to you, in the next lifetime you can come back, your contract, souls come back into your lives again, and you could become partners in this lifetime, and the roles are reversed, where you are more aggressive to the other person and they get to experience what that's like. So there can be the contracts between souls, or you can just meet somebody and feel like you've known them forever. You've just got this, it's an inner feeling like, so you probably do know their soul. That's why you feel that. But the thing that happens with the ego, it starts to obsess that that's the only person for me. I can't love anybody else. It's only that person. And you get stuck on that one person because the ego feels good to think about a relationship with them. And the ego, a lot of the time, what we want to do in life is win. You know when you win something and you just feel so good that you won? What if you're looking at somebody like you want to win them over, and when you got them, it's not all of the fantasy that you had created in your mind. Because you can look at another person and feel an attraction to them and really like them, but you're not living with them. And it can be a totally different story when you actually spend time with each other's energy together. And then you might start thinking, well, this isn't really what I had fantasized it would be like. But you had to go through that. Something in you is pushing you to try to go down that path to have that experience so that you can understand it, because sometimes we can't be told. We just can't. We have to actually do something, learn it by doing the actions rather than just someone telling us that's not right, or warning us that wouldn't work out. We actually have to do it to work it out for ourselves, which is, there's no right or wrong. We're all so totally different. So as much as you might really feel like that person is your soulmate and that's the person that you're meant to stay with, it's probably something there that's showing you what you are meant to learn about yourself through that exchange with that person, because another person may not give you that experience that you're needing, only that one particular person. It's a bit like really kind, empathetic, compassionate people quite often attract personalities that don't know how to love, and that are closed off, because the empathetic person knows what love feels like and they want the other person to also know what love feels like. So that soul exchange is, I'm trying to show you what love is because I feel it. I feel such a deep love and I would like you to feel it too. And I'm trying to help you to feel it. But if they're just going to listen to their ego and they're not going to listen to their soul, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't force somebody to like you or to be with you or to be like you want them to be. And also another good thing is, if you are in a position where you really like somebody else or you really want to be with somebody else and they are not being for you what you want them to be, they're not coming to you or they're not working out a relationship, turn it around the other way and think to yourself, what if somebody had such a desire for me and they really wanted to be with me, but I was rejecting them? And how are they feel? Do I want them to keep pining over me, or do I want them to move on with their life? So if you're in the other way around, maybe somebody that you're really wanting and trying to work out things with, maybe they are also wanting you to get on with your life and not pine over them. Maybe they don't think they're worthy of you. Maybe they think you're too good. You can't mind read what somebody else is thinking. And I say this all the time. Even if you ask somebody a direct question so that you've got an open communication and you say, how are you feeling? And they go, I'm okay. But you kind of know from the energy they're not okay, but they say they're okay. So even though you can't mind read and you can ask somebody, it still doesn't mean you're going to get the truth. The only person you're ever going to understand and really know is you, how you feel and what you're thinking. You can never get into someone else's head or really understand what they're on about. So I think what happens is some people can get obsessed, absolutely obsessed with one particular person because it's not going their way and they want it to go their way. And another thing is, because we have free will, and this happens a lot with readings, is I will see what the universe is going to bring you. So if you're a single person and you're looking for a relationship, it gets shown what type of personality is coming for you and who's coming into your life. But that doesn't mean your free will stops. It doesn't mean that you have to go down that path or that other person has to choose you. The universe brings the opportunity there. Here is two people that can really learn from each other. Do you want to? You get that. We have that beauty of free will. Do you want to learn that about yourself? Do you want to go through that experience with them? Can you see every relationship you've ever had, both personal and in generally, what it's taught you about yourself? That's the value in it. You don't look at them and go, oh, they're the problem. You look at them and you go, thank you for what you showed me about myself. That's what it's all about. It's not about holding on to grudges. This is a classic example. I was married for 30 years. Wonderful man, absolutely wonderful man, fantastic father to our 5 sons. Our relationship was good. Everybody that knew us saw a great relationship. We laughed together. We were like best friends. I started moving into this growth inside of me, and I felt restricted. In the relationship, I felt very, very restricted. I felt like I couldn't be myself. And what happens is, because we are energy, and you've got two people that are together, maybe they go to work separate or work together or come back at night time, but you're together a lot of the time, and your energy rubs off on each other. And you'll notice this when you've got everybody in the house and if just one person leaves the home for a week and they go on a holiday or they're away from the family, how much the dynamic of the energy changes in your household when somebody is removed. If you and your partner are together a lot of the time and then all of a sudden you're away from each other, the energy moves, and that can be very uncomfortable because it's not regular. It's not what you're used to. It's suddenly, and that can become really scary. In my circumstance, I really respected my husband and I still had a love for him, but I didn't want to be there anymore. I just did not want to be there. And the hardest thing for me was I knew my decision was going to hurt his feelings. So I wasn't just thinking about myself. I was thinking about him and the children and the whole family unit. Do I stay in a situation where I'm not happy to keep everyone else happy, or do I leave and create a problem? And I did not want to create a problem. So I tried to do it as gentle as I could, and every step of the way through the separation period, I kept the communication open with my ex-husband and understood how he felt. Even though I wasn't going to fall into a pattern of guilt. He wasn't going to guilt me back into coming into the relationship. I just said, I understand how you feel, but this is the way it's going to be. I had to be very clear and not give mixed signals. And because you have a history together, we had 30 years together, and we know when our children get married, we both go to the wedding, and I can still sit and talk with him and his new partner, and there is no problems. There's no jealousy there or anything like that. It's having that emotional maturity to get along with everybody for the sake of everyone around you. It's not just about you. At the same time that I was breaking up with him, some other people that I knew were breaking up at the same time, and their relationship was like an explosion. They couldn't communicate with each other. They hated each other. And I said, how did you marry, have 2 children together, and now you hate each other? Like, where does that come from? Your ego is so hurt. You're so hurt. You're not seeing how you could make this a lot better situation for you. It ended up being where they couldn't even exchange children, like for the fortnightly you have one sort of thing. They couldn't even get along for the sake of the children. It was all about the hurt, the really deep hurt that they were feeling and wanting to attack the other person for making them feel that way, whereas no one's making you feel that way. You're making you feel that way. You have the ability to compromise. You have the ability to understand if you choose to. If you choose to switch off and you're just stubborn and you want to stick, you're going to create that dramatic, everybody not getting along type of situation. And when you react to someone, they react to you. The way in which you react to someone is the way that they'll react back to you. If you attack, they'll either retreat, run away, never speak to you again, or they'll attack back. If you're kind, how hard is it to react to someone who is kind to you in a mean way? Like, if someone is kind to you, it's hard to be mean back to them because they hit something, don't they? They hit something inside of you. It's like, oh, they're trying. And it starts with you. If it doesn't start with don't sit around waiting for the other person. It starts with you, because what you want to change in your life starts with you. Be the change. You act in a way and you be the person that you want to receive in return. If you want to be a mean person, you want to yell, scream, hate everything, then expect that back to you. If you want to get along and you want to show compassion, kindness, understanding how the other person may be feeling, understanding what your role in this is as well, because I knew I was responsible for making my husband's the way he was going to feel. I knew I was responsible for the way the children were going to feel. I took that responsibility as something that I created. I created a scenario that was going to happen, and I knew everyone that was involved in it was going to have to go through some form of growth, change within themselves. I couldn't make them feel anything, but I was acknowledging that I was responsible for what I was creating and how it was going to affect them. And I was there to listen to anybody that needed to talk about what they were feeling and understanding it. Didn't mean I was going to change my mind, just meant that I was going to understand what they were going through. So relationships, when it comes to readings and relationships and trying to work out where this is going, if you've got that energy connection, your soul knows when you're meant to migrate towards somebody, how long you're meant to stay with that person, whether you're meant to continue to stay there or whether you're meant to leave. A lot of the times you'll be in a situation that you've decided to live via the ego. The soul might be saying, the heart's going, this person is not good for me, this person is destroying me, this person is holding me down, but I'm going to stay here anyway because of reasons like financial reasons. I need to stay here because of financial reasons. I need to stay here because I don't have anywhere to go. I need to stay here because I have no support system. I need to stay here because I'm embarrassed to look like I failed a relationship. And I know that was something that also played on my mind for a long time, because my dad used to always say, within the family, when other family members had broken up or people we knew had broken up, he always used to say, I'm so lucky my kids are still with their partners. Everyone else's families have broken up and they're all dysfunctional now. And he used to make it sound like it was a bad thing. It was a really, really bad thing to leave your partner. And that was like he was instilling that into me, which gave me a guilt trip, like, oh my God, I can't leave because they'll all think I'm failed too, like everyone else failed. It was such a judgment thing. And that was only because it was continually drummed into my head and then I did leave, and it was like, and like nothing happened. That the creation that I thought in my mind might happen didn't happen, and it all worked itself out. So, and and my dad's somebody that can't be on his own. He was with my mum for I don't know, 50 years, I think, before she passed away. He had to care for her. She had multiple sclerosis. She was in a wheelchair, so she had to have 24/7 care. So for the last 25 years of his life, he spent every single day with her, caring for her at home, like lifting her, feeding her, clothing her, taking her in the car. He had to taking her everywhere. He did everything for her. And then when she passed, he couldn't stand being on his own. He hated being on his own. Now, you could have two different scenarios. You could have one person that was in that situation that finally, when the person has passed, they're free. They can go and do whatever they like. Like my dad was very restricted. They could travel the world. They couldn't never travel because Mum couldn't travel. So he could have just travelled the world as a choice. He could have been on his own and enjoyed. Or he couldn't stand being on his own, and he's now married again and having another lovely experience with his new wife, because that was his personal choice. So some people absolutely love being on their own and doing whatever they please, and other people really are codependent and they need to go and find another partner, and they need somebody that makes decisions for them, or they need that company because they don't like being alone. There is no right or wrong in any of it. It's just how you feel personally. So anytime you are attracted into a relationship, there is something in your higher self that is sharing something with that person. Whether it's going to last for a long time, a short time, there is something of value in that relationship, and all you need to do is be in the now moment and be experiencing it with them. So, yeah, when I get asked the question, when will I meet my soulmate, it is way more complicated than just saying next week. It's not that simple. It's I don't know if I think what happens is we grow up, when we've grown up, you watch television, you watch movies, and you watch, read books or whatever, and there's a prince and a princess and they live happily ever after. That's instilled in us like it's supposed to be that way, and it's not that way. I mean, sometimes people do. The very first person they ever meet in high school, they end up marrying and they stay with them for a very long time. They may fall out of love, but they are so used to that one person. They just stay there. They just stay in that relationship because they don't know anything else. And there's a fear there of, I wouldn't like to get to know somebody else. I don't want to get to know somebody new. They just get that's all fears. And I actually have someone, can you see that? I hope you could see that. I just saw a spirit walk in behind me, standing right there. I hope that came up on the video. Anyway, that was my little talk today about relationships. I hope that's helped some of you understand things a little bit better, and I hope you have a lovely day.